your day.
Conversation. We're having that conversation this morning about what it then means beyond registering to vote. What are you doing with that vote? Our Spice Baraza audience is here this morning. Good morning. Karibu sana, everybody. And we're getting into a number of conversations today. So we're going to keep it real, guys, in terms of what it means and what we're doing thereafter. We have a number of people very important when it comes to certain conversations that we ought to be having around what it means to then be in the civic space. And this is in response to many calls where people have said, okay, so then what do we do with this information and this knowledge that we have? So our guests that are here this morning then help us to propel this conversation in a particular light. So thank you for being here this morning. I mean, it goes across board. From Peter Getao to Morris Gogi, Peter Obina, Priscilla Wajiko, Moses Rono, Evans Kiragu, all of you who are here this morning, thank you for then allowing us to do that. We're also going to be joined at some point. He should be here soon and will join us in this conversation. Alan Ademba, who is behind the Tuko Kadi movement. And so we're saying we're taking that energy and what are we actually doing with it? So he'll join us in a little bit as we get into that. But we're going to start with us who are here in the room today and at this time. And let's have this conversation because, you know, a couple of weeks we were doing something and now we're doing something else. There's been a conversation about what are we going to do to ensure that where we are matters in the civic space. That what are we doing to have conversations around what needs to happen with the vote? But beyond the conversation, what is the action? It's not just another trend, you know, like sneakers or bell-bottom trousers. This is something that actually will change the face of what Kenya does in the future. So let's start off with our conversations from around us. What does this Tuko Kadi mean? And we'll start with you, Dennis, and going into it, and then hear from you, members of our Baraza this morning. That what does it actually mean to you as we get involved in it?
You know, I was in a conversation last week, and someone said that for a very long time, the youth of the country have been seen to be having good catchphrases, you know, Tuko Kadi, we are faceless, we are leaderless, you know. But even while at that, now that we are on a Tuko Kadi, what follows after the fact, you know? Are we having conversations around ourselves on, fine, we took on a Kadi, but how are we voting? Who are we voting for? What changes do you want to have? Do we understand the constitution? Do we understand the roles of all these elected individuals that we put into office? So are these conversations that you're having, or does it just start and end at Tuko Kadi? So we go straight to the audience, right? And we ask the question, Tuko Kadi, fine. Kwanza, sote Tuko Kadi. Let's just get that done over with, yeah? Tuko Kadi. Tuko Kadi, right? Yeah. Fine, Tuko Kadi. So how are we kwa Kadi? Tuko Kadi aje? Does it just start with me register, I have my card, but what do we do with that card? Yes, you have the microphone.
Thank you so much.
Introduce yourself and then go.
My name is Gitao Mushiri from Kabete, Kiambu County. A youth leader. I work with the youth for some time. I've worked with them for quite some time right now. And I like the conversation that we are having this morning because it matters a lot, because we've seen time and again trends of young people coming out strong and talking issues about governance, issues around who is going to lead them. But eventually, when we get to the actual point of deciding who is going to lead them, some of them pull back. Yes, they have the voter's card, but eventually they get to a point where they feel as though that their voting does not matter. And I like that the conversation today shines upon the fact that, yes, we've registered, yes, we've gotten the voter's card, then what? What happens after that? And in my work around areas with young people, I've had the chance to get to understand some of the issues that they raise. and some of the issues around why they wouldn't even vote even after having the voters card. And you find like these young people are passionate about this country. They want to improve this country, but they get to a point where they feel like the system is always rigged against them.
I mean, let's just hear a lady, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's hear a lady. Tuko Kadi, we are going to vote. We know what we want. What happens? What do young people say, rather talk about when we know what we want, but for some weird reason, when I just end up at the ballot, I become part of the conveyor belt? Are we having those conversations in terms of, as young people, we understand what the Constitution is saying. We know the kind of people that we are putting into office. We know the change that we want, and these individuals, whether wako or they are not there, are the ones who will bring that change.
My name is Wakili Monica Muthoni Ndungu. I am a Kiambu County aspirant women representative, and I am a Gen Z voice. And from the ground, I think this generation is different. We're not saying we know our rights, but we will move with the flow, with the current flow, or with the previous flow. The leaders that were there before are the leaders we're going to elect today. This generation is different. It is saying we know our rights, and we are not afraid to exercise our rights. Article 1 of the Constitution vests sovereign power to the people. And now this generation is saying that we went to the streets in 2024, we made noise, we were semi-heard, but now we want to translate that noise into power. And we are in the middle of translating that voice into power. And that is where the Tuko Kadi movement came along. The Tuko Kadi came along asking people to register. And registration then will translate into putting it voting and casting your vote in 2027. And the leaders that are going to be chosen this time round will be chosen based on whether there's dignity being shown towards the common mwananchi, because this generation is the most educated generation, and it's the most constitutional literate generation, but it's the poorest. We're saying we're going to work every day. We're broke because the system is broken. There's a disconnect between policy and the lived realities, because we have policies. We have laws. We have one of the best constitutions in the world, but the provisions of that constitution is not being translated into the living realities of the young Kenyan, and that is where the Tuko Kadi comes in. It is a movement. It is an organic movement. This is a movement that is not organized by any leader. It just came with the pain that every common Kenyan is living through, and that pain now is being generation into action.
Is there understanding across board that this is beyond a trend, or that it should be beyond a trend, and that it must be something that you take from registering to vote, but then actually voting? Because there's a direct link between voting and the leadership that you put. And I'd like to hear from others. Is it just something that we're going to go do on an afternoon when we are free? Or over the weekend, we're going to rally people because it sounds cool to do? But do we understand that beyond registering and having your name and showing your screenshot on whatever social media, that you actually come out on the second Tuesday of August in 2027 and you cast your vote? Is there that understanding?
I mean, thank you. Do you have to send?
Yes, please. Just so that we can see you.
Every time, that's a disadvantage. My name is Daniel Orogo. And it's a pleasure to be here. I have run before for a political position down in Kibra, and I've had these conversations always, every time. Just like you mentioned again, you've had this, I think, last week in the Global Democracy Forum. and as well with Madam Du during the Future Like Taxid when you visited and we had this wonderful conversation. So it's a pleasure to be here again. Let us get the understanding, first of all, that for the very first time, and I agree with most of the sentiments my colleagues have mentioned, that beyond the aura that was there in 2002, you know, the hopeful generation in the country, this is probably another moment where we're going to have people very hopeful to vote, especially the young people with understanding of the Constitution. So we really don't really have to figure it out fully. That is my comment, beginning with, but there is a general understanding that there is a link between civic awareness right now and the power of translating that into a vote through the voice that a vote translates. So I think there is that general understanding. The second bit of it, let us also agree. Let's also agree that we started by saying that, you know, we were on the streets, but that could only end on the streets. But when the status quo saw that young people are actually organizing and taking a vote, then there was another issue that, okay, now the politicians are driving in to take votes. Now Tuko Kadi, everyone is running with it. I saw the president run with it. I saw Rigiji actually brand on it. So everyone is saying, when you say Tuko Kadi, they're asking me, which Kadi factions are you in? You know, the dynamics that is now coming.
So it's been split politically already.
So it's beginning to take. Unfortunately, like the Gen Z movement was already pacified. But I just wanted to say as my opening remarks that we might not figure it fully, but we are beginning to figure it out. Okay. That how do we make sure that our voices that we have in the ballot are translated so that we not only talk about Tuko Kadi, but could we accompany it with the ingredients like civic awareness? Do we accompany with other ingredients like, you know, voter awareness? I've seen people even doing concerts now. It's actually concerts that are being organized so that we continuously lace it with other ingredients of participatory democracy.
You've spoken well, but this gentleman here wanted the microphone. So as you give your comment, right? So there is also the aspect of all you want to say. An example is fagia water, right? Fine, fagia water waende. Replace it with who? Copy paste.
Okay, thank you. I'm Peter Obino. I come from Rari. I'm a youth leader and also a deputy organizing secretary for the DCP party in the county of Kiambu. I think to start with about Tuko Kadi, with your question that you have asked. Tuko Kadi, then what? So we need a competent leader. When you go to vote a competent leader who will just hear your voice in the National Assembly, in the County Assembly, so that we can be heard. Another thing, because we are all a taxpayer, what are we having? Our tax have values? Because the leaders that we put there, we need to say that they have value in our tax, because we are paying taxes. When you say the demonstration of Gen Zs, because of the bill, the finance bill and all that, you will understand is that hatuna voice, but we need to have voice right now, but by putting a competence leader. But the Tuko Kadi movement will continue, but now it is now gaining a political wave, because everybody now in the politics want to gain the movement of the Gen Zs.
So you as a member of DCP and now Brigadier Gachagua also sensibly is into that Tuko Kadi. What conversations a young person who's pushing the Niko Kadi campaign having with Rigiji with regard to Niko Kadi? Because one would say he is hijacking the Niko Kadi movement. What conversation as a young person are you having? Do you have access to him to say, hey, boss, yeah, Charana?
I think what they are doing, they are giving us something new, yani kutuonyesha ya kwamba tuko na kipawa ya kufanya. So when the Rigiji is talking about Tuko Kadi, anafanya Gen Z ya mke kabisa, yani tunapewa motisha, unaona. So hiyo motisha ndio tunapewa na the hype itself. He is hyping the Tuko Kadi movement. So that's why you see as young people, we are now moving with him. Yeah.
Anyone else at the back? Yes. Pass the mic.
Hello.
Hello.
I go by the name Priscilla Wanjiko.
Christine, you want to
Priscilla.
voice?
Priscilla Wanjiko. Yeah, I'm from Kiambu, a student leader and a youth leader there. And Tuko Kadi movement. Personally, I have so many different views about it. First of all, I would say we don't have a plan after Tuko Kadi.
Okay, let's start with what is Tuko Kadi according to you?
Tuko Kadi is us taking the civic responsibility of registering as voters.
Okay.
So we are doing that. But after we have the voters card, we have not yet identified what we will do with that card. Each and every person has a different view. Others wako, yes, Tuko Kadi because of this reason. We want to take out the government. We want to replace, but we don't actually have someone we are replacing with.
Are you saying that anybody today who is going to register as a voter is doing so to remove the current administration?
According to the narrative online.
Okay.
And according to most of the Gen Z narrative. But also in between there, we have people who are taking that voter's card to support the government. And actually that's why you're seeing there is some information like, why are you making this thing a one-term movement, or it is already political to a certain political party. Why are you making this to move in that direction? Whereas we have some people who are actually registered.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's
we
okay,
get it.
it's
We don't
okay.
understand. Just whichever way it will come, we'll take it.
We have people taking the voters card to support the government because it is working for them. So as the Gen Z, we have not figured out what is going. Right now, I would say it's a hype.
Okay.
We have the hype, the wheel, the wave, just like how the songs trend in Kenya. We start with tunaanguka nayo, the next minute tuko
Tunaamuka nayo.
tunaburukanga, the next minute, like
Tunatoka
we are not yet settled on what we want to do.
So
Okay.
you see, I want to use my favorite line. One asks the question.
Okay, of course.
One asks the question. The Tuko Kadi movement, the way I look at it, is a political idea. It is a civic right here, but it is politically inclinated, right? Because the young people want to take a political stand on what it is, whichever that is. But like she has rightfully said, there are those who want ni one term, sawa. Kuna wale wenye ni two term, sawa. Kuna wale wenye wanachukua kadi because it looks nice to take a screenshot and share it on your social media, right? But are we having discussions on, do the young people, do the youth understand the power that card has, the responsibility behind having that card, what it means for their future? Because like my dad usually says, my dad is around 65, says, I have kiddo 20 years, at most, but the young people have 50 plus. What are we doing with that idea of the future that we want to live with the 50, 60 years that we still have on the face of the earth?
Morning.
Good morning.
My name is Patience Mlobi, and on the Tuko Kadi movement, personally, Niko Kadi, and I don't think the youth are confused. I think I'm humbled because most of these people here are scared politicians, what and what, they're aspirants. Personally, I'm not that into politics, but I love politics. We've been daktari, but today I want to stand and say, Tuko Kadi, yes, we know what we want. We are moving towards a certain direction, and we are Tuko Kadi kwa sababu kesho hatutaki kuteseka in the hands of people that are already aged. Let me use the term aged kwa sababu mimi, let's say in my early 20s, by the time I'm getting to 50, I want to have a leader that is approachable, a leader that can understand me, a leader that is my age, tunachukua kadi. We want youth representation kwa government, sindio? Right now we have so many people that are 50, 60, 70. Vijana tuko wapi? Tuko Kadi is a time for us to stand. It's a time for us to move. Kama wanasema hatujui tunataka, by the time we get to 2027, I'm sure tutakuwa na viongozi wa vijana. We already have Wakili here standing as a woman rep. Kindly, let's Tuko Kadi for her, on her behalf.
Okay.
That's my view. That's my perspective.
Kabisa, we'll go with you and then we'll come over here to the room, because the question is that then what do you do with that opportunity, and what do people actually want? And are people actually going to vote? We'll start with you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. Like I've had the conversation, and one thing I must note is that we are in a democracy, of course, where you find, of course, the majority have their way, minority have their say. So in as much as we are getting these cards, this voters card, we are definitely aiming to use them politically. And one thing you'll find, I liked what Wakili said, and she said that we have a generation that is very well educated. The question you asked was who are we trying to put in there? We have so many young people who've come out and they're trying to vie for positions. And at times, these are things we would never have dreamt of. We have young people, Gen Zs, going for positions like MP, women rep, and different positions. And voting is not even about the president. It revolves around the whole government. We have different positions that can be replaced by people who are competent, young people who are well educated, and they can make a proper difference. And the last point to note is that most of the reasons why people came out to do demonstrations in 2024 was because they saw different gaps in different positions. You saw maybe your MP was not representing you well. You saw the governor was not utilizing the funds well. You saw maybe the president was not making decisions well. And that's why people came out in large numbers to say that we do not want this. So already, as you mentioned, it's a political thing. And by default, this voters card is meant to make a change all through the government. Anywhere you've seen a gap, we want to see a difference in such places.
Well, let's go to the end here, yes.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Moritz Ngoge. I am a scientist, but not a botanist. And
okay.
And I would like to say this. We have a plan. We are not just taking voters card just to say Tuko Kadi or just for the sake. This started a while ago in, I think, 2024, when we went to the streets, demonstrated for our rights. And we tried our best, even we got into parliament. But the current regime is not willing to give out power. So we went back, we retreated, and asked ourselves, what can we do to get this government out of power? That's when we realized we have to do it through the constitutional way. That's why everyone is taking the initiative of registering so that we can vote out those bad leaders and vote in credible and accountable leaders. Yes, thank you. That's my point for now.
All right, and to you here, sir.
Thank you so much. My name is Wakili Mushanga Kiragu. An aspiring member of parliament for Kikuyu constituency, and I'm also a youth leader in Kikuyu constituency. Allow me to say that Tuko Kadi has a lot of meaning, but the literal meaning is that we are picking out the voters card. But deeply looking into it and surfacing the problems that we have faced as a country, we are simply saying that Tuko Kadi also means Ruto must go. Tuko Kadi also means Fagia Wote. Tuko Kadi also means that we want a change in government and we want alternative leadership that will ensure that our views and will ensure that our insights as Kenyans are listened to and our insights as the youth are listened to. Allow me to say that having a card is power, but power that is unused or unutilized changes nothing. So we are moving from the voters card into change. And beyond the change that we want to see, we also saying that beyond 2027, this is now civic education, we are going to be conducting engagements, we are going to be having public participation, we're also going to be holding the leaders that we are going to choose accountable. What we are exercising right now on Du and Dennis is a civic responsibility. It is a responsibility that is envisioned in the Constitution, Article 38, our political rights. And allow me to say that Tuko Kadi cannot be really distinguished from the political angle. This is a political movement in itself. So when we see, for example, my party leader, Rigathi Gachagua, picking up this particular narrative and saying that Tuko Kadi, it is simply a reinforcement of the movement that is already existing. So we cannot really differentiate the two movements and say that one will move independently from the other. These are inseparable movements. Allow me to also say that in this particular space that we are in right now, we are translating what we used to call the Gen Z-led movement or demonstrations into power. So Gen Zs are saying right now, we are ready to pick up power, we are ready to showcase that we can be the alternative government. And I would love to respectfully and sharply disagree with my colleague Priscilla, who said that we don't have a plan beyond picking out the vote. We do have a plan. We do have a constitution that has clearly outlined the plan, that has told us that Article 43 guarantees to us rights. It guarantees socioeconomic rights. It tells us that I have a right to healthcare, I have a right to education, I have a right to security, I have a right to food, I have a right to shelter. So that is the plan that we have. It is clearly stipulated in the Constitution. We have so many reports that have been undertaken. We have we have things that have been undertaken in this country that we can actually pinpoint and say that this is the plan that we actually have. So aside from the Tuko Kadi movement, we do have an explicitly clear plan that we are saying that beyond Ruto must go, we have an alternative government. And so beyond that, we also have to look into other jurisdictions. We also have to look into other countries. What have they done? What have they done with their votes so that they can actually have change that they envision? We actually see that, for example, for South Africa, they picked out, they had mass voter registration in the 1990s. And with that particular voter registration, in that particular urge for change, they actually ended apartheid, though some critics may argue that apartheid has not actually ended, but it's something that is progressive. It's something that we can see there's something that is actually progressing. Ghana, the same thing. Ghana has institutions and has an active voter turnout, and that's why we see that we have a lot of stability in that country. We have peaceful transitions. We have accountability in that country. So what we're simply saying is that even in our Kenyan context, we also desire that the youth move beyond the Tuko Kadi, and that's what we're doing exactly. So beyond us picking out votes, I'd love to urge the youth that power needs to be utilized for it to mean something and for it to bring change in this country. Thank you.
All right, to Wakili, yes. No, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
yes.
I want to answer a question that was asked. Is this movement being hijacked by the political class and specifically by Rigathi Gachagua? As I mentioned, I am a woman representative aspirant with the DCP party, and we have seen very many young Kenyans align with His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, because I will go back to 2024 because this is where this movement started from. When leaders were dismissing the demonstrators were met with force, arrests, abductions, and killings also. And they were dismissed. And we even had other leaders proudly and in public say that yeyote atakaribia police station, shoot them to the leg. Yeah? They were giving an order to kill. And what Rigathi Gachagua did, he went to the ground and engaged the young Kenyans. And this is what we are looking at when we want leaders. We want reliability, relatability, and courage. And that is what Rigathi Gachagua has shown us. I heard one Gen Z said that the Tuko Kadi movement is synonymous to Ruto must go, that when I tell Maurice here Tuko Kadi, we have already had like 20 or 30 minutes conversation. So I would also like to respectively disagree with Priscilla that we don't have a plan after the Tuko Kadi movement.
So what is the plan? I think that's the thing. That
the plan is.
So this is the question here.
The plan
so
is.
You say there is a plan. There should be a plan. People say we do have a plan. What's the plan?
The plan is Tuko Kadi first register.
Okay.
And then after registration, we have seen very many young Kenyans come up as aspirants. We have seen very many Gen Zs. We're saying we want a seat at the table. We went to the streets because during the finance bill, we did not have a seat at the table. We were just brought a bill. You know, and someone will say there are processes to making laws. We were meant to put in our petitions before the law was passed, before the bill went to stage 1 or stage 2. But the Gen Z and young people don't know these processes. And that is where civic education comes in. We are saying we want a seat at the table. And that is why very many of us are now going to the ballot boxes. We are saying that if you don't elect us, we will go back to the streets because we need most of us or some of us at the table.
Okay.
The problems that we are currently facing are not the problems that our generations in the past faced. And that is why one of us needs to be in the table so that the people now in leadership and the people who will be re-elected can understand where we're coming from.
Okay. The thing is that people are looking, and from what I'm hearing, for conversations that we've had over the last few days, is that people are looking for something with clarity. All right. So is it clear to everybody right now? And because the thing about something to have impact, I would imagine that for me, the secret is in numbers. That if you have everybody, or at least the majority of the people who are going to move this thing, thinking the same. Are people thinking that you would need to come out and align with Rigi G, for example, like you said? Are people understanding that you register to vote and that you actually come out and vote? Do people across board know that that's the plan that we're going with, guys? Or do people want to drain the swamp? Or do people say Ruto must go? It seems that there are very many things that are happening at the same time. And is it possible to have all of those things happening at the same time and still be authentic?
Well, I said no, that I said insist on what I said. That,
Yeah.
As a young person, just like we had different elections that were on different stages, because election is a process.
I think maybe you'd have turned off your mic. Just check that for us, please.
Is that clear now?
Oh, well, no, but okay. Let's switch it up.
Dennis, did you switch it off?
Okay, go ahead.
As I said, it's the understanding that election is a process, and that elections has different phases. While I still think that we need to demystify certain things, Dew and Dennis. Number one, that we as young people, our demographic is uniform. I think that is one thing we must begin to demystify.
Yeah.
That when we say we, because that is one thing I'm always challenging on the panel, we, you know, are you speaking generally like we young people think the same? It may not be.
Okay.
And that's why you hear there's a disagreement around who is now, speaking about, Nico Kadi. Yeah, because when Nico Kadi, in a movement that we all adorn and we are part of, somebody dawn on it and say Nico Kadi, who tells you that young people somewhere identify with that? They might not. And that's why you hear people saying that, but why is Rick G talking about it? But why is Ruto now talking about it? So I think, Dennis, that is one thing I wanted to stand up and demystify.
Yeah.
That if you say we, I think it's important to specifically say we as who. You understand? Because then if you say we are not uniform, we are not, uniform in our thinking. Secondly, I think that for the understanding and the reason as to why we need to adore and support and be part of Nico Kadi, like I said, there was something uniform that young people stood for and us stood for in 2024. That there was a finance bill that was not palatable to many of us. And it was a uniting figure, that we all understand that the budgetary issue was going to affect everyone. And therefore everybody stood out and said no to it. And then as it progresses, we say that as a result of that, there are certain people in the executive that do not listen to people, including in the parliament. And that is why my colleagues have said, if they are not listening to the grievances through the public participation channels, then the Constitution envisions a direct participation. And that is why some of us went to the parliament to make our voices, because that is a direct participation. All right? What happens there is for another case, is another story. But people participated directly. That is also similar to elections. So that is why I'm saying that we as young people, like I've said, election is a process. We might not really get it 100% now, but we are beginning to understand that it begins by taking a vote.
The vote.
All right? And after taking a vote, what does it mean? After that, we started to think, do we have people amongst us who can run? If all of us cannot run as young people, who is this that is amongst us?
And if there are people like that, then the idea is to support those.
To support these young people. Now, because we are talking about leaders and leaders who represent us. Then the demography of young people can say, irregardless, for example, of any political party that you are running with, we see you as one who embodies our aspirations, and therefore we can elect you. It also ends that after election, then it means that now we can hold you to accountable based on what you said.
Okay.
And
I think those are the things that I just wanted to.
And I think there's this gentleman who wants to speak here. But as we have that, right? So we, like you rightfully said, when you talk about Tuko Kadi, anyone, rightfully so, can jump onto that wave. Whether it is Rigathi Gachagua, whether it is President William Ruto, everybody has the right to jump on that because it is a democratic space. But as that being an initiative, it is a push that was initiated by the young people, by the youth of the country. Are there conversations around the young people in terms of, there are those who will, on Tuko Kadi spaces, recognize and identify with the ideas and ideologies that do exist and are in different political parties that oppose each other. But that notwithstanding, are we having conversations among the young people to ensure that regardless of a political party that one will get into power with, that they are individuals who will bring this change that we do want? That conversation stop being about Tuko Kadi or it is one term or two term, but that it's conversation about having good people, individuals who identify with the struggle that we have, individuals who will change this country to be what we want. Sir.
Okay, thank you. My name is Will Smith Odhiambo. I'm a youth advocate and I'm happy to be here today.
We're going to need you to speak, speak up a little bit, Will.
Okay. My name is Will Smith Odhiambo.
Yes, Will Smith.
Your mic. Okay. You know you, bro. You know, Mike.
There.
The other Will Smith would have brought the mic closer to his mouth. But okay, we can go with this. Go ahead.
So on this conversation of Tuko Kadi initiative, this is a youth-driven initiative. And the main goal is to try and drain the swamp. And we actually believe with the numbers we are able to drain the swamp and bring the leadership that we want. Now, the main purpose of Tuko Kadi is to try and...
Will Smith, acha nikusaidia kurap. Cheki.
Okay.
Is it okay?
That's much better. All right, let's go. Okay.
Okay, as I was saying, Tuko Kadi is meant to drain the swamp.
Okay.
We have leaders that for a very long time have been representing themselves and not the interest of the youth. The youth have been there as a decorative platform for political rallies. But now we are in a situation where we want leaders that are going to actually implement our issues. Leaders are actually going to fight for our own challenges that we are facing out there. Youth are facing unemployment. Youth are sleeping hungry out there. But we are having leaders that are prioritizing their own issues and their own stomach. So the main purpose here is 2027, as my brother said, regardless of the party that you are coming with, we are going to deal with the specific issues that you are telling us we are going to address.
Okay.
We are going to look at personal character and your integrity level. Because for a very long time, there's something that is called political cult, party cult, where political parties have dominated, telling us who to vote in, telling us who to not to vote. That has created a room where people are not looking at the integrity level, the competency level of a candidate, But 2027 is going to be a different field or a different game, because we're going to look at what you are able to do, especially for the young generation. And I want to disagree with my sister here, who said that we have a seat on the table. We are not going just to have a seat. We are going to reconstruct. And the seat, we are the first person who is going to nail, to put a nail on that hood. We are going to be the carpenter of that seat.
So what I'm hearing you say is that anybody who, what I'm hearing you say is that anybody who's there right now, who is operating things, everybody has to go. There's nobody who essentially drain the swamp means take everything out and put new water in. Is that what you're saying? Everybody's got to go?
It means that we are going to do away with the political class.
Okay.
That is the main goal. These youths you are seeing here, they have visions. They are capable of doing better than what those guys are doing there. We cannot have a government that we are having an odious debt of around, I don't know how many millions. People are suffering out there. We are having people who are saying that there's no drought in Kenya, yet people are suffering. So the main thing here is to have a new government, a government for the people, by the people, and a government that is going to understand the challenges that we as the youth, we are facing. We're not going to be here spectating for people to get power and then run away to their suburbs areas. Yes.
Okay. Priscilla, many people have disagreed with you, and maybe an opportunity for you to stand by your point or maybe clarify what you meant.
Okay. Thank you so much. First of all, we started 2024 saying we are partyless. We are not political. Then right now, we want a seat on the table. We want to be in those positions. And during the finance bill, the president said, young people, come, we have a dialogue. Then young people said, we're not talking to you guys. And then the broad-based government had the dialogue, and right now we are saying, whatever you're doing, that is not what we wanted. Yet, we didn't show up to say what we wanted. So, another thing I would say, I know the vision is there, but not yet clear. Tunatengeneza maneno, tunapanga. This the time we were telling the young people, register as voters. And as you do so, do this and this and this. Not everyone has that message yet. So, and I've had many of my fellow panelists here say, we will be electing young leaders. And I don't disagree on that. But as we elect the young leaders, are we electing them because they are young, or because they are competent? And if they are competent, what is it that we are using to gauge that? Wewe kama young leader ukiingia, you won't be like the fellow politicians, the other politicians we see. When tunaomba vote, tunaomba kura, we are so nice, we resonate with people, and then after we get into power, everyone changes. The system changes you. So, are we working on the system also?
All right, those are pertinent questions. Perhaps you can come and open up that conversation a little bit more. Alan Ademba is here. He's behind the Tuko Kadi movement. Interesting enough to see, where this came from, and everybody then was able to latch onto that. Alan, good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Karibu sana. You were caught up in some Nairobi traffic.
Yeah, and I was in Nairobi very late, so I slept very late.
It would appear as though you're very busy the last couple of days and weeks.
Yeah.
Let's get an insight into where this all started from. Everybody seems to have an idea about what Tuko, and I think it actually is a good design that everybody said what they think Tuko Kadi is, and have been able to jump onto that. But what was in your mind, or was it just something that you said, okay, you know what, guys, come on, we got to register, we got to vote? Where did it all start from, Alan?
I have to say this, but Tuko Kadi did not take a lot of planning, a lot of logistics, a lot of deliberations, a lot of thinking about it, around it. Something just happened. Now, the thing is, for the longest time possible, from last year when the continuous mass voter registration started, there was a continuous talk of young people not turning up to register as voters.
Yeah.
There was a continuous talk that the young people are only good in the street. There was continuous talk that young people will show in the street but not in the ballot. And so on 12th this March, a friend of mine reached out to me after posting a certain video that I did, the video that everybody is creating, Isabella,
yes,
showing your voter's card. And she asked me to take her to register, to go register as a voter, because honestly, she had no idea where the registration was happening. She stays in Kawa, stays in Kasarani Council, Santon, so that's a quite distance for me just to come and take one person to register for voting.
Yeah.
So I told her, let me try and see if I can get more people. And so I tweeted it on X and said that I'm looking for unregistered people in Kasarani to go take to register for voting. And I said, I'm a registered voter, I just want to help where possible. Yeah, the tweet went viral. Then I quoted the tweet with a WhatsApp link, WhatsApp group link, and people joined.
Yeah.
People joined. People who were unregistered. Then 17th happened. We went, we registered 641 new people. And that's how it all started.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing less. Yeah.
Okay. So it's interesting because, I mean, a number of us in the room in the Baraza have said, well, people have jumped onto it. People have tried to politicize it.
Which is true.
Yeah. And people have tried to now maybe split people along those lines, which is interesting because from what you're saying, it's something that should have actually brought people together and go with one thing.
And that was the aim now after Kasarani happened.
Okay. After Kasarani happened, what was now what you wanted to happen after that?
To be honest, I always say this. I myself, I was not sure of the direction. I was not even sure if Tuko Kadi was going to be a big thing. I was not even sure if Tuko Kadi was going to be a movement or an initiative.
You started by helping your friend go to register.
And people joined, mostly people from TikTok and X.
Okay.
And people came. And I think the thing that made it a movement is how we kept on telling people, like informing people the progress, how many people we've registered by 9 a.m., how many people we've registered by 10 a.m., by 1 p.m., 2 p.m., until now the offices were closed at 5. And now the mainstream media, of course, caught wind of it and they came. Now it became a national conversation. At that point, I have to be honest. I was not expecting that thing to go that way. I knew it would just be a one-day process, then that was it. Go back to my normal businesses and do my own thing. But now, 2-3 days later, it is a whole conversation. People jumping on it, politicians jumping on it, people wanting to be part of, to be associated with it, and everybody from all the country. You see people doing Tuko Kadi, Nakuru, Mombasa, Kisumu, Eldoret, Nairobi, Kirinyaga, Embu. It's not a Nairobi-led thing anymore. It's not an Ademba-led thing anymore. It's a Kenyan-led initiative. And so from then, I noticed that, okay, this thing is now going to fight the voter apathy that has been there. And so the only way that you can make sure that we achieve fighting voter apathy, or just say bringing down voter apathy, is by making this thing non-political. And when I say non-political, it doesn't matter which party you are affiliated to. Okay. It doesn't matter who you are supporting. But the only thing that comes with this being non-political is we don't want the politicians to jump on it. The moment a politicians jump on it, it's going to ruin the whole thing. It was organic. It was a non-funded thing. It happened organically. And when I say politicians jumping on it, is because maybe a politician is from a UDA, the other one is from ODM. If UDA politician jumps on it, it's going to tell the other faction that this thing is a UDA thing. It's sponsored by this thing. And in between ODM and UDA, there are people who are not supporting all these factions. So where are these people who are in between here are going to go? Okay. There are people who are just waiting for the right time. They don't want to put their leaders out there. They say we are going to vote in these leaders. So if you say that these are UDA thing, these are ODM thing, these are DCP thing, so who these people in between? And it's going to bring another division between the youth. we are supporting this person, so you are funded. Why are we here?
Exactly. Those are the questions. Alina Demba is here, as well as other folks for our Spice Baraza this morning across board. So he's told you that alikuwa michanganikiwa kidogo because he wasn't quite sure
I still
what
am.
was going.
I still
am to this point. It's interesting because people then have said that this thing means different things to them.
Yeah.
And of course, the question is that okay? That this thing can mean different things, but we're all going in one direction. We're going to take a break and listen to the news, and we'll come back and continue with this conversation, because then we'll hear he didn't even have an idea. He took his friend to register, and now it's a national thing. But what does it actually mean? Spice Baraza continues after this. Good morning, 9 a.m.
The latest news. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
This is the second ever dance for track I ever did.
I also want to do collabs with Kenyan artists.
Lakini kwa sasa hivi nitatoka soko bado nipo. Bado uko Unasema hakuna noise pollution.
Hakuna noise pollution kabisa.
Nipe ngoma ya
So from Machakos show iko fit mbaya tena sana.
Don't go nowhere. KTN Entertainment bora nipe kelele majiki.
This song is designed for 18 and over. Over. Say 18 and over. Over.
I saw my go. Won't you go home to your mama, go home to your papa,
Every week, Kenya talks.
We are going to transit smoothly.
Drainage system ndio iko very poor kabisa.
Barabara imekuwa ikisumbua wananchi.
About the scandal.
Inside, we found several pregnant young ladies.
The expose. The story nobody else dared to print. Now imagine your brand inside that conversation. This isn't just advertising, it's attention, it's influence, it's visibly where Kenya is already looking. Don't just be seen, be talked about. Call Beatrice on 0741 169 959 to book your space today. The Nairobian, nothing stays hidden.
This Easter, enjoy a feast like no other on your StarTimes decoder. Recharge your monthly subscription today and get upgraded to the next higher bouquet for 1 month. Download the StarTimes On app and stream live channels on the move. StarTimes, enjoy digital life.
Sir, you should throw it away immediately. What are these?
Oh, sorry, ma'am.
Ning, it's okay. Mom, wait, what? I'll take care of this. Wait, Mom, but I thought...
It's okay. Excuse me, I'll take some much-needed rest.
Why do I smell ladies' perfume on you? If you were just nearby, why do I smell ladies' perfume on you?
What do you mean, ladies' perfume?
Why can't you smell it at all?
Well, of course, I was talking to a woman.
When I have back pain, I reach for 2 tablets of Panadol Extra. With unique Optizop technology, Panadol Extra provides 3 times more pain-relieving power than standard paracetamol for fast relief from strong pain like headache, toothache, and muscle pain, and can get to work in 10 minutes so that I am ready to be there for those who need me. Stronger pain relief at only 20 shillings per pair.
Matibabu katika hospitali zote za umma itakuwa bure.
Welcome to Face the Facts and Shokala KTN.
Sasa wameanza kuingiza mambo ya afya kwa mambo ya siasa.
This show that dares to hold up a mirror to who we really are.
Don't fall into that trap ya William Ruto.
They tell us the healthcare system is working.
Wazee wajumuishwe katika mpango wa SHA.
They claim to wage war on corruption, yet dine with the corrupt.
Corruption ingekuwa inaweza kuwa managed. Kila mtu angekuwa na kazi.
Churches promise salvation, yet exploit the faithful.
Wahubiri wetu ndio hao bishops.
Institutions swear service, yet deliver frustration. Professions once sacred, doctors, lawyers, journalists, sometimes betray the very trust that sustains them. And while leaders boast of jobs and prosperity,
we have invested a lot of resources in matters education.
Graduates still roam the streets.
White-collar jobs are unavailable. Even the casual ones are unavailable.
You cannot have money for bribery, but not money for the welfare of lecturers.
Every Friday, 7 p.m. and 9 p.m., we cut through the noise and measure society against its own pledges.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
Are you at a then what moment in your head that you can register to vote, but then what happens with that? Is it directly connected to leadership? We're going to come back to everybody else at this point. But for you, was there a then next? Is there a then what moment whereby you're saying, okay, so we've registered and that's wonderful, but what are we actually doing with that registration?
There's definitely a then next moment for Tuko Kadi, and it's already happening, minus us even taking the effort. It's already happening with the minus even us saying that this is what we want to do after the Tuko Kadi moment. You see young people started to present themselves as younger leaders. You say young people started to present themselves as possible aspirants. And you also see young people doing civic education, political education for themselves. Because what if we register for voting, then we don't know what we are going to do with the vote. Because in the previous election, almost 8 million Kenyans did not turn up to vote.
Right.
So what are we going to do? What if we achieve the 6.3 million that IBC is looking at, but only 1 million turn up to vote? What if we achieve that 6.3 million, but out of that 6.3 million, we have only 2 younger candidates? And as the lady said, being young is not a green light to be elected, because we also have to look at why we are electing you. We are not electing you because you are young, and we are not in a generational war, the old versus the young. We are here to make change. We are here to redefine the Kenyan politics. We are here to redefine, to actually work on our future. 10 years to come, it's our children who will be going to schools. 10 years to come, it's us who will be still here trying to pay our rents. 10 years to come, it's us who will be suffering for the bad policies that we are busy being quiet while they are being said. 10 years to come, we are the same people who will be still suffering from the bad governance or the misgovernance that we are seeing. So the next phase of Tuko Kadi is actually civic and political education, and also the whole voting process. Because once you register for voting, you have to know who you are going to vote for, how you are going to vote. Because then again, we don't want all the 6.3 million people to turn out for the ballot, and we have 5 million spoiled votes. So what were we doing? Were we just casting our votes for nothing? Are we there sweating for nothing? So yes, there's definitely a next step or a next moment for Tuko Kadi.
Okay. It's interesting because some of the opinions that have come out before is that Tuko Kadi means drain the swamp. Get rid of everybody who's there. We want new leadership. Tuko Kadi means we want young people coming in and taking up these positions. Alan says it doesn't matter what political party you are affiliated with or whom you're affiliated with, so long as you've taken that civic step towards the vote. So we're going to go around again, because I don't know if now with Alan's arrival, your opinion has changed.
Yeah, because, I was, again, part of our conversation last week, and there was something that was thrown in there. I don't know how you guys will take it, but it was said, fine, nyinyi mko na kadi, but the political class wako na joker.
Where?
It's actually who has the joker, not
right. So no, that was said in that meeting. So now, question is, when you say Tuko Kadi, have the young people realized that it is them who have the joker, that they have the most powerful card in this card, in this, what do we call it?
Deck.
In this deck, they have the most powerful card. That, as we talk about what next among the youth, we look for the very best there is, because we also don't want to vote a youth because you're a youth, but we want to vote a youth who will get to parliament and know their role. That when they are told NGCDF we are removing because it's unconstitutional, they understand that that is the law. And these are the conversations we are having. Amasi Tuko Kadi, we are draining the swamp, but we are not agreeing on who we are replacing that swamp with. Yes.
Let me start by saying that being young in Kenya, a young adult, is a qualifier, because the trend in Kenya with the political class has been we re-elect people from the same families. Politics has become like a family business in Kenya. It's the same names we hear, a grandchild, a child, an in-law. Being young means I know the realities on the ground. I have lived them. The political class is, let's say, out of touch with the realities on the ground. They don't understand how someone who's educated, has a degree, has even a master's, cannot have 1,000 bob. And that is why we saw something like the Nyota come up. And the political class is telling us, we will give you 22,000, and that should be enough to set up a business. In the 90s, that would be a lot of money, because a young person will have taken that 22,000 bob, paid rent for a small stall, and bought stock. But today's economy is so harsh that 22,000 cannot even pay rent and deposit. The economy is extremely harsh today. The cost of living has continuously gone high. Taxes, the payslip is heavily burdened. This is the first time that we are seeing Kenyans take home about, 55% of what they're getting from their payslips. So it is extremely burdened, but the salaries have remained constant. An entry job in maybe 2000 used to give someone 15,000 bob.
Yes.
The cost of living was very low at that time. An entry job today is still 15,000 bob. So tell me how the political class is understanding that this is not enough. The policy, our policies and our laws have matured with the times, but the realities that translate into the ground are not maturing. They're not translating into what is on the ground currently. And let me say that, first of all, let me thank Alan for starting the Tuko Kadi movement. And I see this as a relay. We still will want to go back to 2024. There was the demonstration. And then this is another, someone who's passed on the battle. and someone else will come up with something else that will keep the fire burning. And we remind people, these are the young people, we are speaking up and we are not stopping. Because economic pressures don't just come and go, they compound. What someone was experiencing 5 years ago has compounded into something bigger. And that is why we're seeing leaders like Rigathi Gachagua realign or align themselves with the Tuko Kadi movement. They're not trying to hijack the movement. They're just trying to align with a constitutional movement. Because it's constitutional. Voting is a constitutional right for every Kenyan.
Okay.
And that is what he's trying to do.
Okay, so let's pass around. Yeah.
Let's just pass around.
Because something.
Could you go to the guy at the end? Because it's not spoken.
Yeah, it's not spoken yet.
All right, thank you very much. My name is... Okay,
we
thank
see you. Yeah.
First, thank you very much. My name is Anthony Karumba, a.k.a. Gen Z 001.
001. All right.
001.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course the leader of One Tribe, One Nation Gen Z movement. Comrade in the struggle, Ademba here is my good friend. And of course, let me start by saying this one thing. We have two people here at this time. We have the political class and we have us, the Gen Zs. Actually, the best time to refer to the Gen Zs is the young dreamers. The people who understands very well who they are, what they want, and where they want to go. At the same time, when I'm talking about the destination, it's about the potential of this nation. Kenya, at this time, should not be part of the third world countries as where it is right now. But we have been led here because of the bad governance. We have been led here because of corruption. We have been led here because of tribalism, the politics of mtu wetu in quotes. Yeah, and I've had my sister here speak and actually support, like how we have seen politicians coming in and intruding and infiltrating into a Gen Z's movement. The reason why I have said we have two people, we the Gen Zs, we are a conscious generation. We are genuine, and that's why everything we do, it's very organic. You have seen what has been happening here in Nairobi. All the IBC registration centers, people are actually flooding there without being coerced, without being told, you're going to do this. People are just, the love for the country is what is driving people to do that. The need and urgency for change is what is driving people to do that. But you have the political class, likes of, I don't want to mention names, but of course we be specific, the DCP party leader. The other time actually he even branded the youths you saw, the Gen Zs that actually had shown up in Karatina. They had come there organically. They were not actually mobilized by the DCP party to come and vote there. No. But now these people, we have a trend of corruption in everything, even in what Gen Zs have actually started. Somebody just want to come with a corrupt mind and say they hijack the movement so that they are seen as though now they are friends to us. Remember when we came to the streets in 2024, the same people, after we went to the streets and fought, grappled with tear gas, grappled with bullets, live bullets and rubber bullets, after that they are actually showing up. After Tumeshinda, they are actually showing up and telling us, my sons and daughters. Those are shenanigans that we cannot actually condone. You see, the Gen Zs of Karatina, when they came up and actually went to vote, they were actually donned with T-shirts branded us with the party colors. Let me say this. If anybody needs the support of the Gen Zs, because we are very serious, we are registering, and this is very serious. It's about order, it's about structure, it's about strategy, and we are registering massively. Tunasema 15 million strong is our target. And I want to say any politician who thinks that fits and actually wants the support of the Gen Zs, we are not the old mentality of coming to tell us wewe ni Mkikuyu, wewe ni Mjaluo, mimi ni mtu yenu. Those ones actually, they are behind us now. Now we are changing. If Kenya is to become a first world country, it's about policies. Come and tell Kenyans, this is the dream I have for you. We have so many people who have graduated, yet unemployment is a crisis at this time. This administration, when they were coming into office, they actually promised 4 million jobs. Right now, where are we? Not even 100,000. Yet, the young people are still crying. Massively, they voted 2022, waiting to be given opportunities of jobs. Now, some of the characters here who are telling us that now, Gen Zs, you're looking for change. Yes, I'm here as your solution. My sons and daughters. Some of them were there. They were even part of the promises and telling people, the problems you're facing, let us get into the offices within the first 100 days. So, in short, what I want to mean is this. Yeah. Let us not be hypocrites. Let us speak the truth. The political class, majority of them. And that is why Adeba has said here, this movement and this Tuko Kadi initiative, it is a Gen Z organic driven movement. But the political class, when they are coming intruding into this, it's because basically we are used to their politics. We are used to their politics. We know where they are aiming. But our point is to them and to anybody who needs support, as we are not into pro-government, as we are not into this united opposition and whatever else, as it's about the individuals who comes and they aligns with the policies of good governance, policies of how to end corruption. Like, for instance, finally, as I finish, when Kenya today we speak about heading to Singapore, it's very good talking about Singapore, but who introduced the idea of Singapore? It's the Gen Zs. Gen Zs came out because of the policies of bad governance, corruption, lack of transparency and accountability. Look at it now. The Lee Kuan Yew, what's the name of that?
Lee Kuan Yew.
Yeah. The Prime Minister of that Singapore. Actually, the first thing he actually emphasized on most, and that is why that country, it is among the first world countries. It's about good governance. It's about how to deal with corruption. But look at every leader who comes in Kenya. They actually come, they hype people, they promise people. But corruption, when you ask them the questions of corruption, hapo ni vile tunajuana sasa. In Kenya right now, they are making life so hard for the young people because for you to get an opportunity, a job employment is not about your credentials. It's about who you know and how much you have. But that is now the narrative that is making us aggressive. Thank you.
He's not spoken. Let's just hear him speak here.
Thank you very much. My name is Moses Arono from Limuru, former president of St. Paul's University, and also an aspiring member of parliament. Allow me to start by saying this, that the enemy of knowledge is not ignorance, but rather illusion of knowledge. And I think that is what we are trying to combat. That many a times we are being used, I think my good brother here has mentioned, that these movements are being infiltrated. And I think I will not focus on the infiltration, but rather give the solution, that we are being infiltrated simply because we've not provided the way forward, or now the direction. We came up with the Maandamano, not Maandamano, but the Gen Z movement when we were against the finance bill. And we all went to the streets regardless of who we are supporting, because we were against the very things that they were passing. And when time, or is it like almost a year after that, of course the political class came in, and I think we also need to stop mentioning the political class and mention the names, because again, we need to be honest. When people came and infiltrated our movement, they did that because we were there and we promised our good friend, let's say our leader for them, that was Caswell.
Okay.
We told Caswell the truth that Caswell came, and we hyped Caswell and told Caswell wewe ndo uko sawa, and he was almost giving us direction.
Okay.
And we followed him for quite some time. And then again, he did not provide the solution, because he had the conversation with the late Baba. And it seemed like for those that were against Baba, it seemed like he had been bought. And then Baba went into government, and it felt like again, we've been bought once again as a movement, because that is the person that we believed in. I had a conversation with I think it's like a month ago, we had a conversation known as Gen Z Gumzo, and we had different generations in that rooms, and most of the older generation were telling us that you guys seem to be having the speed, but your direction is not quite clear. That you might be moving so fast, but in the wrong direction. So my point in all this is, if we are able to show people that we can move and we can make a difference and not elect people by virtue of age and end up being, there's something I love to say, that if a clown gets into the palace, he does not become a king, but rather the palace becomes a circus. So I feel highly that we might be electing young, incompetent leaders who go into the palaces and instead turn the palace into a circus. So if we are to provide direction and give people or support one of our own who has credible record, that this person is not just another hype, it's not another Casmuel, it's not another Morara that we want to support, that we want this person has really proven that they are able to do it, and if it is the majority that we are supporting this particular person, then we are able to make a tangible difference. If not, politics goes back to, we cannot play neutral in politics. We have to choose sides. And our side, there's somebody that says that the silent, not the silent minority, the organized minority can really and easily defeat the disorganized majority. And we are somehow we are the disorganized majority. If we can only arrange ourselves, get ourselves candidates, prove that these people are able to make a difference, and we support them. And we cannot say that this person will choose them come 2027. We know very well, politics is, we need to plan ourselves. Those of us ambao wako politics, my good brother here, Levi, and he can tell us that a lot goes into politics, and we need proper time, proper planning, and to ensure that we register as many people as possible, as my good friend Alan is pushing. But beyond that, let us have somebody that we are going to support, and not just like the other day, tuliambia Maraga that you are the best person, and Maraga has been going around the country. Right now he has a pay bill to support him. How many of us here as the young people have actually supported him when we said that we are going to have this person?
At least one
there.
person here.
There's only one person. Assimilated Gen Z. Yeah. But if you ask a lot of the young people who at that particular time were saying that this is the best person because of his track record, they have not really contributed.
Let me just drop something in the fire as the simulated Gen Z takes the mic. Yeah. So I want to look at the current political class that we have right now. If you just look at the story, they started the struggle as young people at the time. They were the future that Kenya was looking forward to. They were fighting the regime at the time. But look at what it is we have today. They got into palace and made the palace a circus. As the young people in this room, in the country today, Tuko Kadi, organic, we want to know what you want. You want to change the situation. How are we ensuring, I again repeat, that individuals that get into there as young people do not change that palace to be a circus? Are we having these conversations?
Can I attempt?
Yes, please do. Before we come back to Ademba, yeah.
I think Drew and Dennis just confirmed before Alan came in what I was actually my proposition. I didn't really know how Alan started, but I think most of the things I said probably he has confirmed that in the process of, as young people trying to find our way out of the noise into the organized system, then there was a need for us to begin to understand how the political and electoral system works. And I think that is what probably Alan has reinforced, that, from a movement to a Gen Z street protest into organized understanding that we need a vote to transform, for us to make a decision at the ballot. I just also wanted to say, as I come to Dennis' question, is that this morning, I think I've tried to engage with Kibra IEBC constituency office.
Okay.
Because that is where we're organizing the enhanced voter registration. And I asked him this morning, because I was coming to the set, I asked her, what numbers do we have? And I think I've seen 720. That is for the 3 days. Is it the third day? It could be probably the third day, 720 Asian.
Since the enhanced year, because it started, yes, today's the 30th, because it started on the 30th of March.
It's the third day.
Yes.
So 720 is all like, we are given 700 per day.
Given what?
A target for each and every constituency, 700 per day. And I said, that's okay. that's okay because, it's beginning and actually we are getting people to register with the support. So what exactly is the conversation evolving? Is the fact that there is young people turning out to register. That's a fact. That's a fact. People are trying to understand what is the annexure between me having a vote and translating that to the voice. But the problem that I'm actually want to highlight is there's still the gap of understanding, the skill gap of what does this vote mean? This is my only missing link. And I thank Alan because we solved one problem. The one problem was beyond the street protest, how can young people go and vote? What is the modality? What is the technique that can lead us to go and take the vote? But now we are going to take it, is we need to find out how to understand what is this thing. Is this the water that we drink each and every day? Is it the education system? Is it the sanitation system? So I think this is the level of civic engagement that, Dennis, we are going to. And I keep on playing and saying safe again. We do not have to have figured it out now. What we are actually doing is finding our way how to figure it out, and which is okay. So I think that for me is a good thing. Hoping that, Alan, you've heard historically what has been mentioned. We had the likes of Kasmil. We had the likes of Morara. We hope you stay in the movement. We hope that we will not hear out that you're on this other end and now the conversation has started. Now you're saying other things that we do not understand, because it happens. We've seen our colleagues do this thing and they are taken over by the system. And for us to continue to appreciate the work that you've done, we urge you to stay on the course, and keep us reminded that this is the objective. The objective is to get young people voted. The politicians can say whatever they want, but the objective is to keep young people voted. The objective is for us to continue civic education. Thank you, Dennis.
Let's listen to Priscilla and then we...
Okay, Priscilla, then we come back to Adamba. Okay.
We come to the next round,
Thank you. First of all, the question you have asked, how do we ensure that the young people who get into power right now will not be our problem in the future? That one is a very tricky situation, because right now kila mtu analeta manifesto, zina resonate na sisi, zina make sense, but 20 years from now, 10 years from now, we might not want the same thing. And also, maybe something else I would say, the challenges we are facing as a country, it's not only political. We have challenges in every sector. We cannot all be leaders. We cannot all be in the political class. But as a Gen Z in your workplace, what difference are you making? As a Gen Z who is a farmer, what difference are you making? Because we think everything is about the politicians, or we are the victims right now. Nasijakata, tumeteseka, tumewekwa kwa shida. But how do we move from victims to doers? How do we move from victim to people who make real impact? We are tribeless, that is what we say on social media, but I would love us to engage with university politics. What happens there? Technical University of Kenya did elections very soon, very recent. MKU, UN is doing elections. As we say, we are tribeless. Are we? I think there's a dishonesty we are.
So you're saying no, it's not true. Essentially, you can take that position. If the word has come out and people say we're tribeless, we're leaderless, whatever that everless, and you're saying that's not the case, so we need to be true about certain things. Can we shift this a little bit? And we come back to you, Priscilla, in just a while. Ademba, that suddenly there's a lot of responsibility on this initiative right now to see that it births something. And that there's got to be new leadership. That's one thing that comes out very clearly, that there's got to be new leadership because the status quo situation is not something that Kenyans are satisfied with. But I don't know if you hear what is happening, and it may be far removed from what your original plan was to go and register and then make sure that this voter apathy that we deal with is now, a thing of the past. So when we talk, it has to do something, it has to go somewhere. One of the things you mentioned is that really doesn't matter what political party you are affiliated with, that register, you don't even have to be. But the conversation over the last couple of days is that this movement, Tuko Kadi, that's great, but then that they're saying that you must join a political party so that this movement can have some kind of shape, and that you must identify somebody who is going to lead this thing from point A to point B. Had your mind ever gone in that direction, and does it make any kind of sense that there must be some kind of order? If not, it doesn't work.
Yeah, there must be some kind of order.
Okay.
I have to agree with that, because without order, then we are disorganized. And let me start with the issue of political parties. In Kenya, constitutionally, you have to be in a political party to be elected a leader.
No, you can be an independent.
Yeah, I'm coming there.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Is that you either go independent or you go with the political parties. And Kenya, we have a lot of parties. And if you all know that registering a party right now, haitawezekana. No matter how much you have, and especially if you're a young person and you're attached to a Gen Z movement, you're not going to get your party registered. But now this is it. We want leadership, and a lot of people have talked about it. We want leadership, we want governance, because we are the people who are feeling the weight. We are the people who actually know what it takes. I'm born and raised in Kibra. I actually moved out of Kibra in last year, mwezi wa saba. But I'm still in Kibra like every day, because that's where my people are. I've faced bad leadership, I've faced governance myself. And I'm bringing this because let me talk for the MCA of the ward that I stay in Kibra. That MCA cannot even write a one sentence in English.
My name is.
Yeah, he cannot do that. And he's actually the minority leader in Nairobi. Nairobi City County.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually the minority leader because he's from Wiper. Now, this is the issue. The problem sometimes is us Kenyans, to begin with. We are the actual problem with the voters. I love the question that, do Kenyans actually understand the power of the vote?
Yeah.
Do they actually understand? Because yesterday we were in Nakuru, we rallied hundreds of people to go register for voting in different stations, not in a single station. We were in 5 stations, and we rallied people. In those rallies, there were people who are 50s, they have never registered to vote. In those rallies, there were people who just came out of Form 4 last year. But now, the biggest task is now making this person who is from Form 4 to understand the power of his vote. It's going to be difficult for me to make somebody who is 70 to understand the power of his vote who has never voted. Now, this is what I'm saying. If you are going to elect leaders, you as a leader, Pia, you are the electorate, when unachagua watu, please have a retrospective mindset and look, who am I going to put in this office? Why is it that you unajua vizuri that the person you're electing is not actually going to bring change? Because it's not something that you need to be told. If you're going to elect a leader, you know these leaders. Niseme Kibra, we have 7 MPs who are vying. And out of all the 7 MPs, 3 are probably rich, they are well connected, they have money. And you know these people, in Kibra we have even drug lords and drug dealers vying for seats. But you see, people will go where money is. People will not go where leadership is.
Right, okay.
People will, and that's called for us as the citizens. Who do we actually want in those offices? Are we going to go for money? Because I'm going to give the example of this MCA. This MCA actually won because he had people at the queuing lines that could vote, just dishing out money. At the last station, he was not campaigning before. And that is how he actually won. But now, sisi wenyewe, tutarudi tuna complain. And also another problem that we have as citizens, if a genuine leader comes up, I'm not saying I'm a leader, and I don't want to be given the burden that now you are the leader, venye wanasema zinjakasmwela kina Morara. If a genuine leader comes up, na tunasema, this is a leader. Utasikia, we are na pesa za campaign. Why do you want us to pay to lead? Why do you want us to pay to lead? Because if you see a by-election, somebody spends 600 million for a by-election campaign. A job that is not going, if you do the mathematics, the amount of money is going to be paid in that duration is not going to bring that money that is spent in that election. Not even by half of it. So why do you spend all that money? But people will go and spend 600 million because I'm going to pay 50 bob, 100 bob, and But you have to see, in Mbeere North, there were other leaders. Now, because they don't have the money, they were never elected. Now, what does that say? Sisi ndio the shida. We vote based on what we receive at that moment, what we are offered at that exact moment that we are going to vote. And that has been the problem from the 90s. And that is what we, the Gen Z, have said. Hapa kuna people wako na degrees hapa. And utapata most of them, they don't have the jobs. So they actually understand why they need good leaders. But if I find them anapata 500 ndio vote, then we are the problem.
So if they understand that good leadership is required, but at the instant where you're offered the 200, 500 shillings, it's a difficult question then, but why take it?
Now, that's why I say it needs introspection.
Okay.
Why take 500 shillings to determine the next 5 years of your life? You're going to elect this person for the next 5 years of your life because he gave you 200 shillings. You didn't see that there's need for bursaries. You didn't see that there's need for roads in that constituency. You did see that there's need for development of the sewer lines in that constituency. You did see that there's need for schools to be built, so schools to have school buses. All on to your 500 shillings, which is okay because if you go to Kibra, pia kuna mwenye, in a week anazapata, the highest amount of money anazapata is probably 500. There are people who go without getting the 200 in a day.
Yeah.
But that's also calls. Now that is the reason we need the good leadership.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
see?
Ademba,
Yeah.
I want to look at a situation where you said that for organization to be then for anyone to get elected, well, one of the easiest ways to get into political parties. We know that even in our National Assembly today, majority of individuals who are in these who are in parliament are through political parties, right?
Parties, yeah.
And young people have to, in one way or the other, find themselves through political parties for them to be elected. Now, is this therefore an opportunity for the young people to say, fine, Tuko Kadi, but we must organize ourselves, get into these political parties, and change the situation in these political parties?
Do you know how hard it is for a young person to get to a mainstream political party in Kenya? If I wake up today, not because I'm a Demba right now, if the Demba that was there 3 weeks ago wake up and say that I want to go join ODM and vie for Kibra MP seat, do you know how hard is it for me to get that nomination, that party nomination, to be there? Because I'm giving an example of Kibra because it's something that I've seen.
Yes.
In the last election, we had, I'm going to still give my word, not the entire Kibra. The person who was going with the ODM seat. ODM nomination, party nomination, yeah, she actually lost. She actually lost. But there were other competent leaders who wanted that nomination. Now, the reason the lady lost in the election is because she had all the money to pay ODM, but she's not an ideal leader to the people who are electing these people. You see, she had all the money because she had served as an ODM MCA in the same ward, and people actually saw bad leadership to the point that they say, we are not going to re-elect you no matter what party you came with. And what now people are doing was payback. We don't care who you are going to elect as long as we don't elect you.
But Ademba, I look at a situation where even the 8 million strong that you talk about, those who never turned out to vote, it is said, based off stats, majority are young people. We're talking about 15 million strong.
Yeah,
if you look at the numbers that we're talking about in terms of young people, right, of the youth who can change the situation and change the stories even within these political parties, because let's face it, these political parties as well depend on these young people and the numbers that they come with for them to survive. So if the young people understand the power of their vote and take initiatives, intentional initiatives to change situations in these political parties, do they have a say, or is it dead on arrival?
The answer for that, I wouldn't say correct answer, is now that's where we need the collective voice. The collective voice in supporting these younger people. Because we are going to be the biggest voting bloc come next year, the youth. But right now, because the political class has noticed that, after they said that we are not registering for voting, now what is the narrative? These people are tribal. Now that is the biggest narrative that is across all mainstream media. Because now the voter apathy may fail terribly. People are now registering to vote. Now merudi kuwa, we are tribal. But my question is, if we actually can come as a collective voice, the youth, because politicians hate our unity. They would love our disunity. They would love if we are divided. But if we come up as a united voice, that we are going to elect competent, not only young, but competent leaders. Be it the old, but you are competent. Be it the young, but you are competent. Because as we started this conversation, being young is not a green flag or a green light to be elected. We have crooks who we elected in 2022 with the card of I'm a young person. I represent the younger people. So it's up to us to stand up and say that we have the voice. If we are going to ODM, we are going to tell them that we are the biggest voting bloc. Accept us as we come, or else we are going to vote in independent leaders. Because what is it going to cost us if we elect a competent leader through the independent, as an independent candidate? But that is very difficult to happen in Kenya. That is very difficult to happen in Kenya, because I started by saying that the political class have noticed that the only way they can do this is by dividing us. And that's why you see they pick most vocal youths to come and spread the narrative of these people are tribal. Where was the talk of tribes when we were in the streets in 2024? Because that narrative failed in 2024. That narrative failed in 2025. And now that we're heading in 2026, now that's the most crucial point for this conversation.
Right.
Now, because you see, Nairobi, I think, leads with the number of Gen Zs who are going to register. Then there is the Mount Kenya, and that's where the conversations of Mount Kenya, Nyanza, everything starts. And the moment they feed that information to your head, we are tribal.
So we should not. That reasoning that was used in the last election should not be allowed to be used.
And the only way we are going to allow that, to make sure that it's not allowed, is by us ourselves. Mbona tukue ati right now ndo tunasema we are tribal. Yes, I've been into universities. I know that the university elections imekuwa tribal. I have to say that. Unapata kuna siji leaders za Wajaluo in a certain university, kuna leaders za Wakikuyu, kuna leaders za nini. But why do we allow that as the young people? Why is it that when a young person goes to campus, the first thing is taken is join Onagi Association from to what end? I've never joined those things. To what end? How is it going to help me to join an Onagi Association in a campus?
Yes.
They've never paid my rent. They've never paid my school fees. How is it going to elevate my stature? How is it going to... It's us, the young people, to wake up and say that these things are nonsensical, because these are the same tactics that have been used since the 90s. You talked about the people who are leading us right now. They are the same people who are jailed around during the multipartyism, during that Moi era, most of them. And for example, and you find that only 2 or 3 people are the people now we bado tunaongelea as young people, as competent leaders, not fully competent. Utasikia tu name dropping people like Senator Kinonyonka, Akina Nani. But it's because that time they were not actually fighting for good governance. They were just fighting for multi-party democracy.
Yes.
They just wanted to fight for good governance. Watu wako hapa ndani when they can't even send their mom 500 akipiga simu. But wako na doctorates, wako na masters, wako na degrees. Yet after feeling all this pain, bado tunakuwa allowed kukua ati hawa ni Wajaluo, hawa ni Wakikuyu, ati these Gen Zs are tribal, ngoja ufike. My friend, we are going to try as much as possible, I as a Denver, to make sure that... I know it's a difficult thing, and I'm not counting myself a leader. I'm not counting myself as the person with the solution. But if we can come up through Tuko Kadi, or if we can join forces to make sure that easy narratives wanaleta, they don't actually succeed. You've seen the narratives nimeletewa since we started Tuko Kadi. First, I was sponsored by an NGO. Second, I was sponsored by Ure, and I was given 20 million. Third, I'm sponsored by Rigathi Gachagua. It only failed when I said that I don't report Rigathi Gachagua. Right now, I'm sponsored by people sending me money. Nikikuonyesha by M-Pesa balance yangu, I have 3,450. Because most of the money that I had, we actually spent yesterday. And there are questions, who is actually financing you, Kutembea? And do you know why I'm bringing all this conversation? It's the younger people who are actually fighting us, who are fighting for good governance. Because they have sponsored, they are paid, whatever, they are in the government, they are government bloggers. Yeah. Unaona hawa wenye wanakulipa 15,000 right now to fight good governance. Sad to say, hawa watu watakuwa wamekufa in the next 10 years or 20 years. But your children watakuwa wanataka school fees ya kwenda shule. your children watakuwa wanataka pesa tu ya kwenda kufanyiwa medication. And you won't be able to have that because right now you are fighting the same people who are trying to make sure that we have the good leadership in 10 years to come.
Guys, are we the voice of change that you want to see?
Okay, thank you once again. And
Will Smith, Inwaju.
Okay. Thank you once again. And my take on Tuko Kadi. Tuko Kadi is a platform which is initiating us into the next stage where we have to use the numbers that we have for better leadership. Now, what I mean is the numbers we have, we do not have to rely on the political class to give us direction on where we are heading to. We can decide that we are not going to be in these political parties, and there is nothing they're going to do. We are going to vie as independent candidates, and we are going to present ourselves with policies. And these young people here understand what we want and what we want to do for this country. You will just go and look into my integrity level, my competency level, what I'm able to do for them as a youth, and they elect me into these positions. I do not have to present myself as Will Smith Odhiambo, a member of ODM, for me to be elected as an MP in maybe in same constituency in Kisumu County. The people of Kisumu County look at what I'm able to do. But the only way we can do that is we as the Gen Zs, after registering as voters out there, let us turn ourselves out, tuende huko nje na tuongee na our other generation. Because I feel there is a gap. These other generations still wako kwa ile cult ya partyship. Lazima tu tupigie mtu wa party fulani, lazima hii area haiwezi tawalwa na mtu yote mwenye is from another person. Let us try convince our parents, other generation, that sio lazima mtu atoke kwa party fulani ndio achaguliwe hapa. Look at what that person is going to do for you. Look at the challenges you are facing as a member of this particular constituency, for example. For example, ni peane na Nairobi County. Let us not elect somebody kwa sababu the party has dictated so, or is from my political tribe, where I'm coming from. Look at the issues that Nairobians are facing. The flooding, iyo mambo na kubomolewa and whatever. The person who is going to solve that problem and bring sanity to this city is the right candidate for that. And I believe, as the Gen Zs, we have the number, we have the power. We can decide after registering that 15 million strong. We don't have to support these people who are now trying to hijack the movement and say, oh, Gen Zs, my sons and daughters, my brothers and sisters. We can decide one of us who has proven and has integrity level. We are going to support you. We are going to work with you. We are going to make sure you be part and be at the forefront of the change that we as the youth want for this country.
Indeed.
Let's not try and say that Kasmuel changed, whoever changed. We are not Kasmuel. We are different people. We know what we want to do for this country. I know what unemployment has caused for many youths in this country. We want to change the problem. But you cannot say that Kasmuel started like this and Kasmuel changed. I am not going to change because I'm not Kasmuel.
Okay.
I believe that I am capable of doing what Kasmuel was not able to do.
Okay.
So the conversation here should be, let us do what the youth need to be done for them.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, we'll take some more as we get towards it. Yep.
Thank you so much. If you look back, just slightly back to how the demonstrations of 2024 happened, you will find that each and every person, there was a problem that was taking him or her to the streets. They were either, they did not have jobs. Some of the young people did not have jobs. Some of them were not able to access healthcare. Some of them had different issues. And that forms the basis of one of the major reasons why we have a slightly woke generation. And I'm very glad because right now, if it's about the taxes, everybody is being taxed. If it's about the fuel, everybody is being affected by that. If it's about issues of joblessness, everybody is being affected by that. All these additional taxes on the payroll, everybody is being affected. And that is one of the reasons. Kama nisha, if it's not working for me, it's probably not working for you. So there's no way you can side on one side and just wait and see. Right now, the young people have come to understand that if you don't go and vote, you will still be affected There's no way you can sit back and say, you know what, politics is not for me. Leadership will affect you whether you vote or not. So the decision on who is going to lead you is one of the most important decisions ever. And young people must come out and change who they are. And I like also what people are saying here, that it is about competence. The idea of draining the swamp at times come out as though we're trying to form something like a cult. You know, we are saying, kila mtu atoke. We don't care what they've done. We don't care. We have some leaders who are good and they're slightly older. And some of them are there. We also have some who are young and they are thugs. We know them. And the basis of choosing a leader cannot just be a young person. It must be about competence. What are they able to do? Are they able to articulate their issues? The position they're asking for. Are they actually able to do what they want in that position? Yeah. So that has to be the basis of how we choose our leaders as young people.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's take some more as we go through.
The idea that how do we know if we choose the young people, then there'll be the same problem as the one we have, then takes us back to the narrative of better the devil you know than the devil you don't know, which will give us a stagnation with the movement. That question is answered by the Constitution. We hold leaders through oversight, participation, and pressure. And this generation has constant pressure. The pressure does not stop. From demonstrations to all these social media movements, that is the pressure that we have seen, that is awakening, that is giving a political class an awakening that, oh my gosh, this is not business as usual. We have to do something. And what the current administration is doing is trying to hijack, the way they said, oh, Tuko Kadi, and someone said, Tuko Kadi yako ni red card because you've been given so many yellow cards. They're trying to infiltrate the movements that are coming up. And as I said, if this one dies down, something else will come up. Alemba said... Alan Ademba said that people don't understand what the vote means. And I want to tell young Kenyans this, that a vote is a contract with someone. Figure out if you will want this person as a partner for the next 5 years. If he has not shown you that he is a competent partner to lead you, then do not choose him again. Figure out who you would want to be in partnership for the next 5 years. Every day you wake up and you think, I chose the right person. You are choosing your future for the next 5 years. And this whole thing is not just excitement. It's about responsibility. And this generation was accused of lacking leadership and direction. And we have seen since 2024 just how much leadership and direction we all have. It is a generation that is unlike any other. Before, we will see demonstrations being led by one person. For example, the late Baba. This time, it is a collective. Alan took 600 people to vote, and it was not organized. It's just a friend who asked you, take me to vote, and it became a movement. That shows leadership. So, to answer Priscilla, don't say, we don't know whether you will be like that person, because that has been the trend. Give someone a chance, someone who has shown a little bit of initiative, someone who has shown a little bit of competence. And I think young Kenyans right now are the choice to take.
Okay. I mean, why we have these conversations is to put some things out into the open, and I think some real gems have come out today that hopefully will be the things that people feed on when we say come out and register. If a constituency is taking, and we know that there's 290 of them, if 290 offices are taking registrations from 700 people a day, do the math. for the next, I don't know, even 3 months, if that's going to happen, and that you can actually move it with the numbers, that you can actually move it. And if what you're looking for, and maybe from what you said, Alan, from what other folks have said in the room today, if what you're looking for is not to remove anyone necessarily, but to push for the right thing, if that's the focus, perhaps that's what everybody's looking for. And at the end of the day, to secure Kenya and to secure its people should be the number one agenda, whether you're young, whether you're older, whether you're on your way out of the thing or you're just starting. So we want to thank each and every one of you for being in our Spice Baraza this morning. Thank you for making your contributions. I know, man, but our minutes are ticking away. Alan, thank you for doing this. Usichoke, as they say. Leading this in this way, whatever it is. Everybody in your positions where you have it, I'll give you 5 seconds. Sir, real quick.
Nivea Nourishing